So last night, they randomly dropped a pre-order slash announcement for Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. And when I looked on the eShop, it said they're selling these for $20 each, which is absolutely insane for GBA ROMs. Like, wow. But at the same time, I'm not that surprised considering what Pokemon has been doing over the past few years. Like, I mean, just in a few weeks, we're getting Pokopia on a key card. So it's just
Are you kidding me? Are we getting Pokopia not even a few weeks from now? Dude, that is like one of my most anticipated games. The graphics are going to take me back right to the 3DS era. And the game's not even on the cartridge. That's how good it is. I think a cartridge just couldn't handle it. So that's why it had to be on a game key card.
Yeah, that's why we're going to be coping for Pokopia in just a few weeks.
Look, my dude, I was thinking about like going to gas stations and like doing reviews of the toilets. But then I realized even the toilets have the content in the toilets. You can't say the same about Pokopia. The game's contents aren't on the damn cartridge. So yeah, this announcement, after that, I've become numb to pretty much anything. Yeah, $20 is overpriced. Game Boy Advance games were, I believe, $8 on the Wii U eShop.
They were, yeah.
So that really should have been the standard. Yet again, Wii games were 20, and look what happened with Super Mario Galaxy 1+2. Those were either 40 a pop or 70 if you get the bundle, the physical version. And the thing is, I don't even think the pricing is really that bad. It's like, I expected it. Like, I've just been conditioned, like in the Switch 2 era, to just expect a lot of things to be either $10 to $20 more than they should cost.
Yeah.
Although, if this game was 30, I would probably, like, be singing a completely different tune.
Yeah,
but the thing is, it's just like, I'm so apathetic towards Pokemon that not only did it not really surprise me, but it's like, I don't even feel outraged. I was thinking about making a video sharing my thoughts on it, but I really have nothing to say. All I gotta say is this. They're selling you Game Boy Advance ROMs for $20. You can emulate Game Boy Advance on pretty much anything. It isn't like the Wii or the GameCube, where some laptops might not be equipped, whatever. No, you can literally play Game Boy Advance games on anything. So I would just use the money that you would use to get these games. Just get a Mew Mini or an Ambernick handheld. You can get all the classic Pokemon games on them.
Yeah.
Even like the cheaper ones, like an older one. The Mew Mini Plus is still perfect for playing Game Boy Advance games. So if you know how to get Game Boy Advance ROMs, it's like, there's no point because they're just dumping the ROMs on the eShop. And here's the thing. I will say it is admirable that they're finally re-releasing the classic games. I thought they would never do it because they wouldn't want to show fans how good they had it before. But here we are, they're giving fans classic games, Pokemon Fire Red, Leaf Green. Very quality games. My favorite is Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver. But yeah, the fact we're getting the classic games is good. They're just extremely overpriced and I will not be buying them.
Yeah, I just like, even though it's not $30 like we thought, I still think $20 is just like absolutely insane for these GBA ROMs. Because if you want to get like both versions together, that's going to be $40. So like $40 for two GBA games, like what are we doing here? Like, you were saying they could run on basically anything. Like, there are GBA emulators for calculators. Like, and I'm talking about, like, the TI Inspire calculators, but still. And you could also, like, run them in a browser as well. So it's just, like, there are plenty of ways of playing these games. And I know that, like, Pokemon games, like classic Pokemon games, are really pricey when it comes to buying the actual cartridges if you want to actually build up a physical collection. And technically, on paper, $20 is significantly cheaper than that. But at the same time, though, I feel like the reason
what they're pretty much doing here is they're exploiting a bad situation. So you have the games going for $100 on eBay. Some people don't know how to emulate and think that the only way to play the games is just getting the cartridge and the hardware. And that's causing the price to go up because the thing is, well, I don't even believe causin's a word, but I also don't think that Pokemon games should be $40 if you want to get both of them together. So the thing is, it's just like, what's the point of getting these?
Yeah. It's just like, I know that there's gonna be like Pokemon Home support, but that's not even gonna be there at launch. They can't even add that at launch. Mario Tennis finally has everything at launch. But yeah,
I'm not even surprised. That's just a cherry on the sundae for me.
Doesn't have
I've
online
just become
either.
so apathetic towards Pokemon. No, it doesn't even have online. It's literally them just dumping the ROM in the most half-hearted way imaginable.
Yeah, they couldn't
with
even
Pokemon Home support coming when they feel like adding it.
Yeah, they couldn't even combine the languages together. Like all of the languages are separate on the eShop, which is just strange, honestly. Like I know they originally released like separately with each language, but like it's 2026. I feel like that would be really easy to implement nowadays. So it just really goes to show that there was basically no effort put into this at all. So it's just kind of crazy, honestly. Like, I feel like they could have easily handled this a lot better. Like, put all of the games from Gen 1 through 3 on the eShop for the 30th anniversary. Like, literally everyone has been asking for. Maybe sell the Game Boy and Game Boy Color games for about $4.99 each, and then the Gen 3 games for like $7.99.
Or even if they wanted to do something like cute, like make a Game Boy Classic Edition that's just Pokemon. Like they remake the Pokemon Center Special Edition and just like include classic Pokemon games on them. That'd be better than this. This is like pretty much worse than what Mario gets. Because at least with stuff like Super Mario 3D All-Stars, that was 3 games in 1, and it was a little overpriced, but not too bad. Super Mario Galaxy 1+2, I will admit I was a little bit too harsh on it, but that had texture work. The games are some of the greatest games ever made. It's not that only that I think it's a ripoff. And the thing is, when we're talking about the pricing for Pokemon Fire Red Leaf Green, I can speak for you as well because we've talked about this before, but we don't care how you spend your money, obviously as long as it's not hurting anyone. So if you feel like these games are worth it to you, by all means, go for it. If you really want to just play them on the Switch or Switch 2, this is the way to do it. But the thing is, it's just like, I've seen a lot of comments about how I wasted $100 on the Virtual Boy and how I wasted $70 on a tennis game. And I'm going to do full reviews for both, but I just wanted to get some of my thoughts out there. The Virtual Boy, I don't think you should have the headset required. That was stupid. I have a feeling they will update it to be 2D in the future for docked and handheld mode. But the thing is, you don't have to get that Virtual Boy headset like the expensive $100 one. You don't even need to get that cardboard one. You could just get like a VR headset on Amazon for like $25 that includes a head strap.
Yeah.
It's just a novelty.
Yeah.
You get to experience a part of Nintendo history that Nintendo was very ashamed of for years and is finally kind of proud of. So I think it's cool, and I knew it was going to be worth it to me.
Yeah.
But I also can acknowledge that I am crazy. I'm not like most people. I actually love the Virtual Boy. And as for Mario Tennis Fever, I mean, a lot of Switch games, Switch 2 games, have the standard of $70, and while I think it is too much, I think that's persuaded a lot of people not to get the game. For me, it was worth it, because I'm a diehard Mario Tennis fan, so if you really just want to play these games on the Switch, it might be worth it. But if you just want to play them, you can literally play them on anything.
Yeah, it's like...
You could probably play them on the Codenator from the Cat in the Hat 2003.
Yeah, like, with the Virtual Boy, I feel like even, like, if you absolutely needed the accessories to play it, at least you could make the argument that that's, like, a hard thing to replicate. Like, with Virtual Boy games, like, really the only absolutely authentic experience, like, before, was getting an actual Virtual Boy and playing them that way. I feel like this is really the closest anyone has come to like replicating that experience, and of course I feel like Nintendo would know something about that, so it's like, yeah, like Nintendo has like basically nailed the whole Virtual Boy experience here, which is like a hard experience to replicate, so I could at least see that novelty of it there. So I could at least see why the Virtual Boy like has like these accessories and released the way that it did. I could see the arguments for that over, like, Fire Red and Leaf Green, which are literally just the exact same thing that could basically have the same experience anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing with the Virtual Boy, as a proud member of the Virtual Boy fan club and probably one of the only members, I can confirm that the Virtual Boy for the Switch and Switch 2, the experience is pretty much identical to the original Virtual Boy, minus a few things like the original has static because of the speakers, and it has a weird smell to it, like bootleg figurines you get at a festival that smell a little bit like gasoline. The Virtual Boy is something that was obscure, nobody ever thought it was coming back. Just seeing it back regardless was really cool. But the Pokemon games, these are games people were asking for. They're not bringing them back in the best way that they could bring them back. I'm not even surprised.
Yeah,
But
I
another
also
thing, it's just like,
yeah, I'm
go
not.
on.
I was gonna say I'm not sure if these like you were telling me this earlier, but it almost seems like they think that Pokemon has like a premium over all other GBA games. Like these are the GBA games that need to be worth $20, like not Superstar
Yeah, how freaking
Saga
arrogant.
or Golden Sun or Fire Emblem, all these other like great like GBA RPGs and like more interesting GBA games. No, Pokemon has to be the one that's worth $20. And it's definitely arrogant, honestly. And it's like,
Yeah.
this game really isn't that, other than the fact that it was insanely popular and like one of the like the best-selling games on the system. Like other than that, like they're not that much more special than any of these other GBA games. Like people have had tons of childhood memories and great experiences with these other GBA games. Like why does Pokemon have to come in and say, "Oh, we were the best ones.
We're better."
Yeah, it's like
It's because they
It's
can get
kinda
away
ridiculous.
with it. They're taking advantage of the situation where the games are just $100 on eBay. They're not rare games either. That's just how supply and demand works. So that's why they're doing it. They're doing it because they can. Although I will say one of the funny things to come out of that is you'll see a lot of the fanboys try to rationalize it. They'll say stuff like, oh, they didn't include them on Game Boy Online because Game Freak didn't want there to be rewind or online play. I guess you could argue that they didn't want rewind, but just disable it for Pokemon and include them with Game
Yeah.
Boy Advance Online.
yeah,
If they have problems, they just have restrictions for their games, like Animal Crossing.
I
Like,
am
you can't have like 2 save datas on one system.
I'm 99% sure they're using the same emulator as NSO for this. They just disabled those borders and just released them separately, because we've seen games that use the NSO emulator like in other places before. Like I think in Animal Crossing they use like the same like NSO emulator and things. Like I feel like it wouldn't have been hard to like disable things. And the thing is, like, even if they weren't a part of NSO, like, it still would have been nice if they were, like, still separate like this, but just significantly cheaper. Like, I think, like, I would have been fine with that, honestly, and I actually kind of would have liked that. Like $8 for Fire Red, Leaf Green, like, you get to fully keep them and everything, and that like, and then throw all the other older Pokemon games like I mentioned before. That would have been nice. Like, I wouldn't even minded if they weren't on NSO at that point. So just, like, I feel like the real issue here is just the price and the method that they're releasing this in. Like the fact that it doesn't have like online or like no Pokemon Home support at launch, and the fact that they're
Yeah,
split up
that's
between
dumb.
languages. It's just like, this is such a weird release overall. Like I feel like
Honestly, if it did have online where you could like trade with your friends online and battle, it might be worth it. I think that $20 might not be too bad for that. Because there is development time that needs to be added if they have to go back into the game and like program that in. But no, they're just dumping the ROMs. Same ROMs you can get
Yeah.
anywhere else.
Yeah, and I was also thinking of like the prospect of like maybe not like a full remaster, but like a very slight remaster. You know how like when like they take like a retro game and they like port it basically, so it's like running native on the system. Maybe they like fix like a few
Galaxy 1 and
aspects,
2, pretty much.
add a few like quality of life changes. I think like the Fire Emblem like remasters, like the Pixel remasters did that, and like things like that. So it's not the exact same game as the original. It looks the same, but it's like ported so it like has like more quality of life features and things like that. There, I could have, and then it had like, if they, let's say they add online along with that as well, then I could have seen why this could be worth $20. But as it looks for this, this just seems like straight up ports, or not just ports, but like emulated versions of the original Game Boy Advance games.
I will say, man, we really checked out of Pokemon at the best time. Like, we are missing out on the goods. They're releasing Pokopia on a game key card, then released Pokemon Legend Zaza a few months ago.
Yeah.
Man, we're eating good.
Yeah, when Pokemon Legends Zaza is like the least bad thing, you know things are kind of looking a bit dire right now. But
But another thing about that, it's just like, I was replaying Pokemon Pearl on one of my guys' trips. You know, the usual ones we did. We went to Super Nintendo World. The Motel 6 boys, pretty much. Yeah, I played a little bit of Pokemon Pearl, and I don't know what it was. I know that Pearl isn't considered one of the best games. You should be playing Platinum. But I had it on my DS, so I was like, why not? And it's like, even with the classic games, I just feel like I've been completely checked out of Pokemon. That it's like, whatever happens with this series at this point, it's like, they've gotten me to a point where I just don't care about anything that they do, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine if Mario did that? Like, it was just years and years of slop after, like, 2016, and it, like, just completely went in the generic era.
Yeah,
But it wasn't just generic. The games were broken, too.
Yeah, I mean, like, they've almost gotten to that point a couple times, like, in the 2010s, but, like, thankfully, they, like, still maintained a consistent quality with, like, their mainline titles. But I was saying, like...
I'd say even with games like Sticker Star and Ultra Smash, there was still a level of quality to them. Problems just had to do with the game design, not thinking things through like in Sticker Star. Whereas in Ultra Smash, there was a complete and utter lack of content, but you could always argue it is a tennis video game. A functional, very good-looking tennis video game.
Yeah, and then also, like, what you've been saying with, like, checking out of Pokemon, I think, like, that's, like, honestly completely valid. Like, I feel like it's just, like, a thing. Like, I feel like for certain game franchises, I feel like we kind of fall in and out of love with them over time. I feel like that's perfectly normal. Of course, we have the ones that we'll always love, like Mario and different things, or Kirby, Donkey Kong, things like that. But I think it's, like, perfectly fair for, like, people to, like, just not care about Pokemon anymore. It just like how it is for people who are still, like, interested in Pokemon. I mean, just because some people are interested in Pokemon, it doesn't mean they're really, like, interested in some, like, Pokopia, $20 GBA ports and things like that. I feel like, I feel like it's just perfectly normal, but, like, I do feel bad for those people who are legitimately interested in Pokemon and aren't happy with the state of the franchise right now, but just for us, at least, like, I feel like we're, a little lucky at this point that we don't care that much.
I feel like this isn't even a thing, like, a game that hasn't had a game in a long time, like F-Zero, where... Yes, it feels like forever since we got a new entry, but there's always, like, kind of the hope that there could be, like, a new game. Whereas with Pokemon, it's like the series has burned me so many times. They released Sword and Shield, then they released Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, then they released Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and it's like, why would I want to waste my time after I'll just say it, three shitty games? Why would I want to waste my time dabbling with the series to hopefully get a semblance of something that I find to be kind of quality? Like, let's just say I did get Pokemon Legends Zaza. I'd just be like, okay, the game looks like crap, but that's kind of cool. Yeah, during that time, Kirby Air Riders released a few weeks after. There were other games, even Donkey Kong Bonanza, I was still playing that. Why would I just want to settle for a game that's kind of good when I can be playing Peak like Bonanza?
Yeah.
That's my stance. And if you feel the same way about Pokemon and you feel burned, honestly, I know what it's like being attached to a series. I was attached to Pokemon before, but sometimes you just gotta let things go when they become bad. If the series eventually has its Bonanza, Breath of the Wild, or Odyssey moment with Gen 10, I'll be back in. I'd be really happy.
Yeah.
But I'm not expecting that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think, like, eventually, it might not happen anytime soon. It might be it might be until the Switch 3 that this happens. But I do think Pokemon will get better eventually. I mean, Pokemon has gone through, like, so many different eras over the years. Like, they're celebrating the 30th anniversary now. I mean, like, they've had their highs and lows and extremely low lows over the past few years. But, like, I feel like things may get better eventually, but we'll just have to see. I don't have much hope for, like, the immediate future, but Who knows?
It is what it is, brother. I am done with it at this point. Like, here's the thing. It was like with Pokemon Sword and Shield, I was like, okay, maybe the next game will be good. They released Arceus, that was kind of good. I didn't really play much of it because they announced Scarlet and Violet shortly after. I'm like, maybe I'd want to experience that if that's the future of the series. But no, it's just like, you can only be burned so many times before it's just like, it's not even worth it anymore. And it's just like that for me at this point. And it's like, at this point, they can just... It's like when you're giving a friend advice and you want them to, like... You're trying to help your friend out at first. You want them to be happy. But then you tell them the advice so many times and it's like they clearly just... When I give advice sometimes, you don't need to take the advice. But if it's something, like, beneficial, it's like with Pokemon, the games are bad. And people still keep on enjoying them. I mean, they'll enjoy them. I've said my piece. Hey,
I mean, like, hey, we don't have, like, much room to talk since we do, like, Virtual Boy games. But...
I mean, the thing is, I can understand why people like Pokemon games. It's just, if you feel the same way, no shame in checking out.
Yeah. But anyways, I think that's about all we have to say. Kinda sucks that they're releasing $20, GBA ports of Fire Red Leaf Green. But at the same time, like, I don't really care too much. Like, I'm not gonna buy them. I wasn't planning on buying them anyway. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. And make sure to check out my Discord server and Blue Sky if you want to. And make sure to subscribe to The Beach as well. Stay perky!